everybody, it's Tanny the Canadian Stamper. Happy Saturday. I have a card tutorial for you. I just did up the tutorial that you will be able to print off if you want to copy this if you have it. It uses the Timeless Tulips stamp set, and it also comes with a matching punch. We're not going to use the punch today, but we are going to use the stamp set. So let's get started. I have pieces, so I've got my petal pink base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. I've got a piece of vellum, which is the first layer, which is cut at 3 by 5 1/2. And then I've embossed it already, but essentially what that is you use this folder, one of these pink plastic folders. You put your cardstock or your vellum, and then you run it through a machine, which essentially makes it look like this. And then we have a Whisper White second layer, which is cut at 3 1/2 by 4 3/4, which is what we're going to do our stamping on, and then a scrap piece for our happy birthday. So what we're going to do is we're going to adhere the vellum onto our card base. Typically you have to be careful when you're putting vellum on, because you're going to you can see the glue right through it. But because we're putting the white base over top this one, it doesn't matter. The white is going to get covered. The white's going to cover it anyways. So we're just going to set that aside, and I'm going to stamp the images here. So I'm going to start with, the tulips. So I'm going to ink these up in petal pink. And so I use the lines on my grid map to kind of make sure that things are where I want them to be. And this one I'm just kind of putting a little bit off to the side. I should actually be using my mat. So when you're using photopolymer stamp sets, there's no squishiness there. It's a technical term, squishiness, so that you can get a good image. So when you put this underneath for the photopolymer, it allows for you to get a better image when you push down. So I forgot to mount one of my stamps here, so I'm going to grab this little bud that's in here and put it on a block to get that last one on. So close is good, really wherever you want them to be on your card front. So now I'm not actually gonna use my mat, because I need to stamp off of the paper, which is also why you don't want to adhere this onto here and then start stamping, because we're gonna stamp and we're gonna go off the page like that. So we would get ink, and then if you didn't get a good impression, you'd have to peel it up, and it might get kind of messy. So the stem has sort of a top and a bottom to it. So I'm going to ink this up. There's 2 stems in the package. One is sort of more curved than the other, but because they're photopolymer, you can, excuse my head, you can kind of put them on an angle if you want. Already, like you can, I think you know what I mean. So I'm trying to get the the stem as close to the base of the flower as I can. That's why I'm putting my head over top of it there. Excuse my head. Perfect. Now we're going to go with the leaf. And I'm just lining up the very edge of the leaf to the stem, so it doesn't go over, to make it kind of look realistic. You can switch your stamp around so that you get kind of a different leaf look if you want. I'll do that for this last one. Perfect. So that's it for that. Now while I have my ink out, I'm going to stamp my sentiment. I'm going to use a scrap And I'm gonna get it as close as I can to the bottom of this scrap so that there's less cutting for me to do, and I'm gonna leave a little piece so that I can make that flag kind of on the side. Perfect. So now all we need to do is really kind of assemble. I'm going to cut this. And then I'm going to show you how to flag the end. You could do both ends if you wanted to. So to flag, you pick the middle and you snip in as far as you want your flag to go, and then lining up the tip of your scissors with the edge, and you're cutting into where you cut in. And now it's flagged. That's it. All right, so now we're gonna use Stampin' Up! Dimensionals, and I'm gonna use several actually to pop this guy up. So the dimensionals obviously give dimension to your cards, but this one, like it just brings it up off of the page, which is a fun way to do it. All right, what else can I tell you? Oh, I have to put my ribbon on. So we're gonna use the metallic edged ribbon. So with Stampin' Up, of course, all of the inks match the paper and the cardstock and all that kind of stuff. I've mentioned that before. So for example, we have the petal pink paper, the petal pink ink, and the petal pink ribbon, which is right here, which just makes it look like it's a polished, I find it's a nicer product. You can get inks and papers and things from all sorts of different companies, but I struggled with having the colors. They didn't, the different shades of red or different shades of pink, it just didn't match. So having it coordinate, I find my projects look way better. I'm happier with them for sure. So I'm just gonna tie that off, and I'm gonna snip the ends. And you'll know on the tutorial that I did up just a minute ago, I'm gonna take a glue dot, and I'm just gonna put it underneath the knot of the ribbon, and it just helps kind of hold it down a bit. Whoops, I'm stuck to my page here. And I put some, oh my goodness. I put all my dimensionals there on the back. Okay, let's get a new one. I took the backings off of them. It looks like they're still good. That was funny. Okay, so I put snail on the back here just to hold my ribbon while I'm putting it down. That was a good one. Okay, so now I'm going to mount this. I'm putting my card up against the lines here so that I can get it as straight as possible. If you're not super comfortable with eyeballing it, it helps. I'm going to put another dimensional on the back of my sentiment. I'm actually going to do two because it's kind of long. And then after the sentiment is on, we're just going to add the two pearls, and we're done. So it's a pretty card, and I think it's fairly simple to make. I'm going to use one of the large pearls, and I'm going to use a small pearl. I think I probably did a medium. Oh no, I did a small. Perfect. That's it. So the tutorial I'll link below if you want to print it off, if you want to try it for yourself. You can always stamp on the inside if you wanted to with some other tulips or sentiments from the stamp set. That's always fun. And don't forget to stamp your envelope as well, because that adds for a nice touch as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye for now.